I admire when I see it grind. Catch a pace, slow it down, color people time. Waiting on my chance, mind of a legend. Will he go far? Time only telling. You better have your bag packed. Things change and you'll never get that time back. Nip shine, but we never can rewind that. Max shine, man, he really left a time stamp. Pay attention, I ain't trying to say I never did it. So I leave it in the studio on every minute. I'ma face the world while I ain't never been coward. I'm a big kid.
Hey, Sid the Great. What is playing in the living room today?
Queen, that is Soul Rising by Chief Ray, who can be found on Instagram at Chief So, and who streams on all platforms.
Very
so
nice.
check him
Chief
out,
So.
folks. But Queen, welcome back to the living room.
Hey, welcome me, welcome you, welcome us.
Welcome our guests.
Welcome we.
Thank you guys for tuning in yet again. Thank you for taking your time while you cleaning your house, while you in the shower, while you are driving your car on a road trip.
Mm-hmm. While you walking your dog.
Walking your dog. What else? Did I say working out? While you
While
working
you hanging out
out
with your friends. Oh my gosh, if you listen to us with your friends.
Y'all should have listening parties.
Amen.
Yeah, one day we'll be that famous. I'm waiting on that day.
We're going to get there.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
For
Well, guys, we welcome you. We welcome everyone except Tariq St. Patrick and Angela Valdez.
Fuck them.
Which starts off our monthly review because Power returns. Yeah.
Yeah, I love Power.
Oh, yes. How you felt about...
I love Power, yet hate every single person on the show. Literally everyone, I hate them all.
How you felt about Beyonce playing Nala? Your excitement? That is my excitement for Power because, first of all, I'm ready to see Omari Hardwick back on screen as he plays James, Jamie, and Ghost all at one time.
Does that character.
Okay.
Honey.
I love the costume design. Like, I watched like a behind the scene on his suits, and it's just like what they're supposed to represent. And first of all, he be suited.
Suited and booted.
Let me tell you
honey.
something. I love to see a man in a turtleneck
Oh my
with
God.
a nice button.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Not the turtleneck,
God,
a
he's
jacket,
so
a nice
good.
button jacket. But and you know, I love Monetary Natin, who is Tasha St. Patrick.
I hate her too.
I know you hate
I
everyone.
hate the whole cast. Not the actors. The actors do a phenomenal job.
Yes, absolutely.
However,
the
they just make
characters.
they make me so mad.
Yeah, but that's how you know they do a good job, though, because you
Yeah.
really like people. I'm pretty sure people probably come up to Tariq St. Patrick, whatever his real name is, in
And
real
slap
life.
him in the streets.
Yes. I think people really go up to Angela and be looking at her on some homework and shit.
Fuck her.
No spoiler alert, but also we're about to return to Power, and she has been shot in the chest.
And it's gonna make me mad because she's gonna be alive, and I want her to be 6 feet under.
But you know it's supposed to be the last season, though. So in my head, I'm like, maybe she'll be alive, like on life support,
And then
in
she'll
the
die at the
bed,
end.
and then she'll be dead. You know what I'm saying? That's what I expect, but they
50 Cent did say it's supposed to be the last finale. There's supposed to be a finale, and then he was like, "Yeah, never mind. I might keep it going."
right,
I
which
was like,
pissed
why
me
would you
off.
do that?
Because then if they wrote it to be a season finale, and I'm like, if everybody's dead, I would be fucking pissed. Because my mama was like, "Yeah, I heard people dying left and right," which I don't know where the fuck she heard that from, but
Your,
that's what she
your
said.
mom's ears be to the streets. Okay?
What? My mama ears are in the streets.
Also, Yvonne Orji just posted the table read for Insecure.
Yeah, I heard.
Oh my god!
But you know, Issa left us hanging for a whole year there. So
yeah, she's a bitch.
absolutely, absolutely.
No, I love Issa Rae and I love Yvonne Orji. She has a podcast too with.
Oh yeah,
her
I've heard.
Lovey, and
I've heard it's
so
really
it's called
good.
Jesus and Your Love.
Uh-huh.
And it teaches me basically how to be a Nigerian.
Okay. Oh, and we all need that as
Okay,
Black
because I
Americans.
am Nigerian.
You know?
I just don't know shit.
Right, absolutely. So yes, that's my first month in review. I just wanted to make sure I shouted out Power, which is my favorite show. It just captivates me and gives me life, and I'm just excited to see because they've won awards. I think Naturi's won an award with NAACP Image Awards, and I'm pretty sure Amari Hardwick has won an award for his role on Power. It's definitely an award-worthy show. And Courtney A. Kemp, who is a Black woman who writes and created the show. A sister. I'm just happy. So you guys can be thankful to yet another Black woman for your happiness, for the greatness that comes on every Sunday night on Stars.
Yeah,
So.
if you don't do shit else today, make sure you thank a Black woman.
Okay.
Amen?
Yes, ma'am. So that's my first month in review. Do you want to go back and forth on it, or?
Yeah, I'm gonna say two quick things because my last and most heavy month in review is very heavy. So
Okay.
the other ones are kind of that way too. So I was glad that you had something not so to bring to the table.
Absolutely. Yes,
Today we are recording on a Wednesday. Today, Cyntoia Brown is going to be released from prison.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so she, if you don't remember, is the woman who was kidnapped and sold basically into sex slavery, and she killed like her capture, and they put her in prison because justice system.
Absolutely.
So she will be released today. Blessings to her family. I can't even imagine because what I didn't understand is when they were like, "Oh yeah, she should be free." That was definitely wrongful conviction, whatever. Why they didn't release her today? Like, I mean, when they first said it, because they said it's like January or something,
and I didn't realize she wasn't
and yet
out
she
yet.
had to stay in prison till August.
Yeah, and then what's crazy was because I hadn't heard of that story until it was viral. I thought she had just went to prison like last year.
Yeah, no, she's been there. Don't misquote me because the Wi-Fi in this thing.
It's been a long time.
It's been like 10 years, I think.
Yeah,
maybe longer.
Yeah, and when I found out, I was like, what? Like, 'cause I guess it got maybe like revamped. People was like, hold the fuck up, you know what I'm saying? Or maybe somebody discovered it.
Well, Kim Kardashian, in her quest to help free black injustices or whatever, she kind of helped take on that case. But of course, there are two beautiful black attorneys that are working behind the scenes that are, of course, actually doing the work because they are attorneys.
Yeah.
But Kim Kardashian is using her platform for that, so I think that's really dope.
Absolutely. You can't take that away from her. You can take a lot of things away from the Kardashian family, but not that.
Yeah, no, so that's really dope. And then the next thing I had to talk about was Officer Holtzclaw of Oklahoma Police Department. He raped and assaulted at least 13 black women, one of them being a grandmother. Raped a grandmother. And he has been sentenced to 263 years in prison. So, ain't got good sometimes? Yep.
263 years. Let's go back to our statement.
13 women, all of them black, one of them a grandma. You have raped and assaulted these women.
Yeah.
And he got away with it for so long until 13 women testified. Why does it take 13 women to testify? Do you know how that would feel as a woman to have to be like, yeah, I was raped, and have to do so publicly?
And let me find 12 friends so that somebody will get some justice, right?
Yeah.
And it's crazy because, again, there's so many parallels between now and our past. Like, it just reminds me of, I was reading Closer to Freedom, and it was talking about, they had quoted a Confederate woman saying, well, they started with the quote that, like, all these mulattoes have been born since they set up this camp, and it was like a Confederate camp, and the Confederate woman was quoted as to saying, I hope they're having jolly good times, as in talking lightly and making lighthearted jokes or lightheartedness of black women being raped by white men. I'm assuming. But yeah, it just, again, parallels, because that's 1863, 1864, 1865, and here we are 2019, which I actually dive a little bit into that also in my Blank While Black too. Like, there's just more parallels, but yes.
Okay, well, cool. And then one thing I kind of want to insert in that, because you brought it up, this podcast, we're going to be open to love, we're going to be open to light, we're going to be open to evolution. Me and Sid talk about how the internet does not let you to forget. And that's one thing. They don't want you to forget when you said or did things wrong in the past. But at the same time, let people grow.
Absolutely.
I don't care about holding something somebody said or did 10 years ago against them if their ideas and their presence is different.
Absolutely.
Let people grow. Let people evolve. They're not the same. I'm not the same person today as I was yesterday. Why? Because I've had 24 hours of more experience.
Yeah.
Let people grow.
Absolutely.
So I say all that to say that I used to call myself Mulatto Barbie all the time back when like Nicki Minaj first came out, and that was my signature on my text. And I remember texting my hairdresser about something, and she was like, take that signature off your phone. Mind you, she's fully black. And my very first time meeting her, I sit down to get my hair done, and she goes, so how do you identify, as white or black? And I was like, I'm sitting there like, do I have to answer this question? I'm 12 years old. So I'm like, both? She said, no, you can't be both. And I was like, I think I can be. I mean, my literal mom is white, my literal dad is black, and she was like, "No, you got to choose." And I was like, "No, I think I'm gonna say both." And so when she saw that text, she was like, "Oh, you got to take that off." And I didn't know the historical context. So, if any of my old MySpace posts and stuff pull up on me on 20 years, please don't think that I'm racist against my own first calling myself Mulatto Barbie.
Right, and that's what people love to do. They be like, "Oh my God, you said such and such a year ago. You said such and such 3 years ago."
They would have had to be
Canceled.
like, she said that. I mean, MySpace is what, 15 years ago?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And they will pull the receipts.
They will have the receipts. So y'all, let me evolve, let me grow, as I will also be gentle with other people and let them evolve and grow.
Absolutely. And I support that statement and embody that statement 100% too. Also, let me grow, because me and Aisha both heavily believe in evolution, as in on a daily
basis.
Hourly, moments to moment basis, because you never know what you're going to come across. And I think when you are readers like we are, you're open to new information all the time. You're open to transcending to new levels of thought, or just new versions of thought, or even new versions of self. So there have been things I'm sure I've said where I would be like, cringing, like, oh my God, I said what?
Yeah.
But again, and in this cancel generation, people would say, oh yeah, cancel her. They podcast is getting off the ground a little bit. Oh, we heard that she tweeted.
Remember what she said, mulatto?
Right, and you'd be
Cancel.
like, you might even be like, oh, did I say that? Because then you got to think about how much is going on in your present life that you really forget you said some shit.
Yeah.
So people pull up your page with your name on it.
I get so frustrated when people are like, yeah, but did you see that they pulled up her MySpace or her Facebook or whatever when she said blah, blah, blah? And I would literally be like, context. What year was this?
Right.
And they were like, I mean, she said it like 5 years ago. Did you really change in 5 years? I'm like, my God, I hope so.
Oh, right. And for the people who say that, I'm like, have you not changed in 5 years?
Because if you haven't, good sis, I don't even want to have this conversation.
Right. Precisely. Yes, ma'am. So please let us evolve, and we will let you evolve, and we'll all just grow and hopefully grow into more inclusive, more accepting human beings.
We will be doing our best to not say that we canceling X, Y, and Z.
Absolutely.
And
Unless
these
they're
people.
like touching little girls or raping
Unless
women.
this is a present day thing or you haven't changed. Those are the things you can hold against people, who they are, who they bring to the table. I can't judge you on your past.
Absolutely. There we go. Yes, ma'am. All righty. So for me, another one of my monthly reviews are that I just discovered what Black August was. Had never heard of it. And so I wanted to use the source, Mark Lamont Hill, and that's where you can find his Instagram page, who among many things, including being my husband, is the host of BET News and Black Coffee. He is an philanthropist and author. He is a professor at Temple University, if I'm not mistaken. So lots and lots of great things.
And he is fine.
Yes. And I have
Pull
met
up
him.
on his page.
I have met him twice, and so I am slowly, surely shooting my shot every time I meet him. But so what he said was that this is a month of celebration, commemoration, discipline, work, and resistance. Black August began in California prisons as inmates commemorated the lives of fallen comrades. During this time, inmates would fast, they would study, and they committed themselves to revolution. This is an opportunity to remember freedom struggles. And some freedom struggles that happened in August were and include the Haitian Revolution, the Nat Turner Rebellion, the March on Washington, Watts Uprising, and Ferguson rebellions. So again, it's always a continuum. It's always like, it's crazy that all of those things happen in August, and it's just the same month, in that same time in history, that same time in the universe creates all of this uprising and this unification. And so then the second source,
It's hot. You get tired of shit when you hot. I'm trying to tell you.
Okay. And so then I used another source, which you can find on Instagram at Black August NC, and they put up there how to observe Black August. So you can observe Black August by studying. So you can find texts that speak to the history and current condition of Black people, particularly those who are incarcerated. So two books that you guys could read could be Blood in My Eye, by George Jackson, and George Jackson also has Prison Letters. I can't remember what that book is called, but if you type in George Jackson, his books will come up, and he is a Black Panther who was incarcerated. So that's one person you can read. You can also read Assata Shakur's autobiography.
Oh my God.
To just name a few. It says you can study in groups or engage in dialogue on solutions, share your book lists, your documentaries, your webinars. You can train. They said that you should practice physical discipline by adopting a fitness regime in August. So getting your body ready and prepared, getting your mind ready and prepared. They say you should fight, organize yourself and your community in the cause of Black liberation. Find your people, strategize, mobilize, and resist. And lastly, you can also participate in fasting. So you could do sun up to sundown, which is the official fast associated with this tradition, or you could do a limited food diet. So you could do, I shouldn't say limiting. You should do a different food diet, as in veganism, vegetarianism, juicing, just cleansing your body, cleansing your spirit, and strengthening your mind and your body. So those are all the ways you can observe Black August. And just some people I wanted to shout out as fallen people that I have looked up to. Malcolm X, everybody knows that's my dad. Or if you don't know, you do now. That is my dad or my grandfather, because he's actually like 90. He would be like 90-something. Assata Shakur, for sure. Martin Luther King, George Jackson, Stokely Carmichael. I think you're more so supposed to observe people who kind of like died in more like assassination or were in prison. So any of the Black Panthers, Huey P. Newton, Bobby Seale, if you want to read Eldridge Cleaver's work, if you want to read, what is Eldridge Cleaver's wife's name? I cannot think of it right now. It's also something Cleaver, of course, but I can't think of it.
Dang.
But plenty and many
And
of...
I know it too.
I know. But plenty and many of the Black Panther books. One of my favorites is Black Against Empire, if you guys would like to read that one. That was an all-inclusive, comprehensive book about the Black Panthers and their organizing and their tactics. I have many book
Kathleen
Cleaver.
I'm so
Yes,
sorry, Queen.
Yes,
I'm so sorry,
yes.
Kathleen.
Angela Davis, Afeni Shakur, the mother of Tupac Shakur, who was in prison with the Panther 21, and both of those women represented themselves in the court of law. These two black women, both Angela Davis and Afeni Shakur, and got themselves off. I remember hearing that quote that was like, "He who represents himself is a fool." Well, not these two black queens. Okay. So respect again to the black women. But yes, there are many, many, and plenty more. And what I was going to say was, if you guys need a comprehensive book list, let me go ahead and plug my website. You can go to sidthegreat.com. I think it's sidthegreat.com/books. And up there, I kind of put all of my favorite books and all of the black books I've read in general. If you go there, all of my favorite books have an asterisk mark beside them. But I just wanted to leave a blueprint, because I think a lot of the times when we meet an expert in any particular area, we always wonder how they got there. Like, what books did you read? How did you practice? So for me, I was like, because I ask that all the time, like, because I want to know what Ava DuVernay has done to get where she is, I was like, let me leave a blueprint for people, because Black history is something I love. It's something I try to do every day. And so I wanted to leave you guys a blueprint where you can go and find many and plenty of books that I have read.
And I want to say that, think about how close our generation is to the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
And how much we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know shit. We don't learn shit in school about Martin. We only learn about Martin Luther King. We literally don't even learn about Malcolm X. We just hear, oh, he's bad.
Right.
That's it. And then it keeps going.
Yeah.
So you have to do your own education. Who are you trusting to educate your children?
Right.
Let's think about that. Who are we trusting? And then, I mean, Sydney and I, we live here in the South. We live in North Carolina. So who are you trusting to teach your children?
Absolutely.
So you have to do that legwork on your own. You have to start looking up. And honestly, it starts with the first book, because these greats will lead you into their greats and who inspired them and who was with them alongside of them.
Yes.
And that just keeps it going and going. And to walk into somebody's house and see a library, you know, of books that are important and books that you need, it does something to your spirit.
Absolutely.
It makes you say, like, I don't know this person that well, but you know what? There's something more to this person. There's some good conversations that can be had. And at the very least, I know that they can inspire future generations.
Yes.
I know that, you know, my godchildren and stuff, my friend Jaleesa, she's always picking at me like, oh yeah, I know my kids are gonna learn the most from you. Like, you're always gonna be teaching them stuff, and when they go to your house, they're gonna be eating plant-based stuff, and they're gonna be reading Malcolm X as a bedtime story. And I say, amen, absolutely.
And that's
100%.
beautiful. That's beautiful to have in your life. And I was gonna say, and how many times have you been able to walk into someone's house, be it Black, and I know most of my friends, of course my family, are all Black. How many times have you walked into someone's house and actually seen a library? That was one of the questions I think they asked, and to me that can be both a race and a class issue also, but I didn't have a library in my home growing up. Like, our bookcase was actually filled with like decorative things rather than books.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, I got personally inspired by my one of my professors, my advisor at ECU. Like, I remember walking into his office and the entire wall was a bookcase filled with books, and I'm just like, I want to have this. Like, and even if I don't own the books physically, that's personally something I like to do though. Like, I like to have my books and see my old highlights and see my notes, but just in case I get out of the ownership of books or the ownership in general, because again, we're always evolving, like we stated earlier, I would just love to know that in my lifetime I read that many books. I dedicated myself to elevating always, and in all ways too, because even though I do love Black history, like, I also want to learn how to make money work for me. I want to learn how to invest. I want to learn about other cultures, and I want to learn about, like, I follow an LGBT book page that all they post are children's books and short stories and fiction and nonfiction, all about the LGBT experience. And so, like, I just want to learn about everything and everyone under the sun, because, you know, read until you discover knowledge of the universe, which is my favorite quote from Marcus Garvey. So yes, I just would like to have a bookcase filled with books, and you guys can borrow, or I can give you guys
I was gonna say, I will purchase you your own if you see something you like, because borrowing books does not go well for me.
Yes, I know you've been scarred.
I have been scarred. I'm very protective of my books.
Yes ma'am.
So, and also, when you're thinking about books, of course, all of these great leaders are going to lead you into one thing and the other. And it's not always going to be somebody's autobiography or an organization story. Sometimes it's going to be about the messages that they're sending you, like financial literacy. The Black community doesn't necessarily have that, and it's not necessarily taught. You know, I was, privileged enough to have a dad who kind of taught me about ownership and how to do taxes and what credit looks like and how to build lines of credit and different things like that. But I know that everybody don't have that. And I know that even with all that he taught me, he couldn't have taught me enough, and he kind of had to do trial and error a lot. And so he was trying to help keep those steps for me. But two books that, I find helpful. One I've read, one I've not quite read yet. But one of them is The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. He is awesome.
Yes.
And he does like classes like at local churches and stuff. So your church might offer it, but he does it at churches, at colleges and stuff. You can like pay and take the class to help you get out of debt. If you have bought a car, you're probably in debt. If you have a loan for student loans, you're in debt. If you took out a personal loan, you're in debt. Anything that you do not own, you are in debt. You can't say that you own your car if you're still making payments. You don't own it. So he kind of just walks you through that and gives you like anecdotal stories about different people who have followed it, and they'll be like in their 50s and 60s and be like, wow, I wish I knew this before. So my good sis Kalia Martin gave me that book for Christmas I think like 2 years ago now.
Yes.
And it has been so helpful. It's been monumental in the way that I see spending money, because I'm really a money hoarder. Like I save all my money because I'm petrified of not having shit. So I save everything, and instead of making my money work for myself or getting myself out of debt because of how I save, I'll be like, okay, I'll make the payments. I'll make a little bit over my payments each month for my car instead of just buying it. And I can buy my car. I'm fortunate enough to have saved that way that I can buy my car. So that's one thing that I'm about to do. So Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey is really dope. And then I just bought this book, also to break it down even more, because Dave's book is very it's easy to read. It's not something hard. He's not using words that you're like, I have no idea what finances are or how to get started. Like, it's very easy to read. It's a very good book. But there's another book by Stefan Walters. He went to UNC Chapel Hill with a friend of mine, and he wrote a book called Finessing Finances. So I just bought that recently. I got it on Amazon, actually. It's like $15. I bought that one. I can't wait to read it because I know it'll be, in layman's terms, that things that I can understand, my peers can understand, my friends. So I can't wait to read it myself and also get the copy for other friends that I feel like it'll help once I, can dive into it myself and know what it all is saying. But it's really dope, and it's very important for Black people. So get into your books, people.
Yes, and kind of to play off of what you just said too, share that knowledge. Like how you said, like, I'm gonna get that book, I'm gonna read it, and then I'm gonna buy it for some friends. Like once you come across something beautiful, absolutely try to share it. Even if it's just, hey, would you be interested in this book? Because some people, they just don't want to read, don't care to read, and you can't make them, and you shouldn't want to. But it's just about trying to share that information. And then the other thing I wanted to speak to also was that whole idea that you never know what you're gonna find in between the pages of a book. Like you said, it might not lead you to another autobiography. Like I remember telling someone that sometimes I can read a whole book, but if I got one beautiful thing from it, the book could have been 400 pages. If I got one beautiful thing, like, to me, it was worth it. Even if it had nothing to do with what I thought it was going to be. Like, even some of the things when I think about Asada's autobiography, like, I would have never thought that would have been what I took away from it, because it wasn't even necessarily something about her. It might have been something about an aunt that she mentioned, but it gave me light, and it gave me a new way of approaching situations, and maybe might have shifted my purpose a little bit. So you never know what you're going to find. Sometimes you can't really judge a book. You really can't judge a book by its cover, because even though it might be autobiography or it might be some other kind of book, you just never know what you're going to find, and you never know how you're going to be affected and how it's going to make you or help you to navigate our world better. So, yeah. And
the takeaway, get a book, give a book, bless somebody with a book that meant something to you. There's no greater gift than knowledge.
Absolutely.
That's something that can't be taken away from you. So give some knowledge to somebody and go get some knowledge for yourself today. And Sydney, like I said, if you haven't been to her website, you're trash, because if you need to know where to start, where to get some books popping, where to get some information, or maybe if you don't like reading that much, you can at least go to museums that she has reviews on and be like, okay, well, I don't like reading that much, but how can I baby step my way into it? Yeah. I'm more of a visual person. Well, boom. Sydney does reviews of different museums you can go to as well that are, African-American museums. So go to her website. What is you doing? What is you doing, baby? Go to her website.
Thank you, Queen.
SydTheGreat.com.
Yes, you're always welcome there, just like y'all are always welcome in the living room. You know what I'm saying? And my last month in review is that Instagram is removing likes, which is not new information. Apparently, everybody has known about this. The article that I'm sourcing, it was actually written in March, but I listened to a podcast called Black with No Cream. It's hosted by Ben Haggerty and David Malave, and they were just now talking about it because they're both content creators. For anyone who's never heard of Ben Haggerty, among many things, shot the Homecoming documentary for Beyonce.
Oh, well, hello.
Yeah.
My friend.
Edited Chris Brown's documentary, the one that is available on Netflix. And if you guys have recently seen the Adidas commercial that she put out, or the Adidas
like
promotion.
trailer,
Yeah. Like there's at the very end, there is some drone footage. I know that at a minimum he's shooting that drone footage. So he works with Beyonce a lot. He shot her and Jay-Z's On the Run tour. I don't know if it was all of them or the most recent one, but he's definitely very active. So they were talking about it from a couple different vantage points. They were talking about it from being a content creator and what it's going to mean for people who literally make their money off of Instagram if you can no longer see likes. But even with no likes, the people who post will be able to see, and they can still screenshot lot and provide that information to whatever companies they're trying to work for. But they were talking about what this means for a lot of different people. So some things I wanted to talk about was it's rolled out in Canada, but like let's say it rolls out to us, right? Like what will Instagram look like and what will it feel like without likes, right? So like they were talking about how high schoolers probably interact. Like imagine like I feel like Instagram hit us at the end of high school going into college. So we didn't have Instagram when we were in middle school or elementary school or high school. So he was saying like think about like the person that might be the star athlete on the team. Like before it was, I'm the star athlete on the team and that's why I'm getting into the party. But now it's, I got 11,000 Instagram followers. So that's why I'm getting into the party. So, and even just what that does to us psychologically too. Like I was reading a report from UK's Royal Society for Public Health and Young Health Movement. And they looked at the impact on different social media platforms on mental health. And they were saying that some of the negative impacts include anxiety, depression, feelings of loneliness, affecting sleep quality negatively, and a negative impact on body image. So I just kind of wanted to have a quick discussion on how you felt about like whether you feel like Instagram with no likes is going to be better, if you feel like that we'll just go from looking at or evaluating people from likes to something else.
Doesn't it hide your followers as well?
No, it's not. So they're saying as of right now, it's not going to hide your followers. It's just going to hide likes for now. And it'll so like say like I post something. The most you'll see is IyeshaDamali and maybe like 2 or 3 other names that follow me like this picture or that you follow also like, you know what I'm saying, in conjunction, but you won't see like IyeshaDamali such and such and 68 other people, you know what I'm saying? Like how you do now. You'll just see like 3 names like this picture. I personally, but you know, of course this comes from someone who's not really a big fan of social media and all the negative things it has done. I think it'll be really dope. Like they were saying that the people at Instagram want there to be a more authentic experience. And that's something Ben Haggerty and his co-host were talking about, was that as content creators, there'll be things that they like and things that they want to post, but in their heads they're like, oh, this ain't gonna get that many likes, so they just won't post it at all. Because likes unfortunately affect how you feel about yourself on some kind of continuum. Like even if it's just a little bit or if it's a whole lot, like you're thinking about it when you post, I feel like most people. And so I think it'll be really nice to just, because I know I've been like that too. I'll be like, oh, I found this video of someone doing some beautiful kindness, but since it's not me, I'll just put it in my story. Like I think it'll be so much more authentic, because there have been times where I'll be like, oh my God, like look at this girl like doing something great, I'm gonna post this on my page, and it actually does get pretty good reception. But it'll just be nice to not even think about that anymore. Like this is just something I think people should see today, just in case you don't see anything else other than some shoes, some cars, some clothes today. Here's somebody doing something great in the world and trying to make the world a better place by providing more life. So I think they were saying it should lead to something more authentic, and then they want people to interact more with that post, because I wonder how many people will see a post and be like, oh, this is cool, but only a couple other people liked it, so I'm gonna just scroll on by.
There are some cornballs on the gram. I know
that. So I'm like, imagine again, like people will just like stuff because they actually like it. Like I think it will.
And I will say that I know like couples in general that they SO is not allowed to like the opposite sex photos, which I think is extremely wild, weird, and possessive. But they'll be like, I'll be like, why do you follow so and so? And you just scroll right past their picture, like, oh, because my man will trip if I like it. And I'm like, my man would have to trip over my asshole. I would give a flying fuck.
Yeah, that's
he
crazy.
said I couldn't like something.
But you still got eyes. And I've heard that before too, like even with the more like provocative or the more body positive, however you want to say it, like images of females. If I were in a relationship, like I've had friends say like, no, I would feel some type of way if I saw him like that. I'm like, he got eyes. Like I'm not about to act like I'm
like it in his spirit,
right? So. You know what I mean? Like I don't think that I'm the only girl in the world.
I think it could be like annoying to be like, oh, so that's what you like. But also, I don't like. I mean, what am I gonna do? You know, like I don't know. I think that's weird. I'd be like, then I wouldn't want them to follow them if that's how deeply I felt about it. But also, I feel like I'm in a growth spurt right now where I just the possessiveness of a relationship is just like less and less appealing. Yeah. I don't know if it's the older I'm getting or just how I'm evolving, but just the possession of another person, it just feels like. And
to me, I think of it as the limiting of freedom too. Like I'm just like, I don't think just because you're in a relationship, you should stop doing all of these things that you used to do. Like, is this relationship even fun anymore? Damn, you can't even you can't even double tap a picture.
This is a good Sexpectations.
I know, right? So we'll hold off, or maybe
maybe another
episode.
Day.
Yeah. But that is it for my month in review. Just talking about what Instagram will be like, what it will feel like. I'm personally looking forward to it if they do roll it out. When that article was written in March, it was just Canada. But on Ben Haggerty's Black with No Cream podcast, I think he said it had been rolled out in 9 different countries now at this point.
I saw that posted somewhere.
Okay. So
none of it was the U.S. And I was like, I know. The U.S. is going to be upset. I can't say that I care because honestly, when my social media started growing, it was because I worked with the specific photographer, and then kind of him and different, I guess, people with a lot of followers in general kept posting my pictures everywhere. And when I was doing photo shoots early in college, and so now I have a whole bunch of followers, but now they just like, they all died, I guess. I think they all made pages and they all died.
People will die.
So I have like 22,000 followers, but I might get like 400 or 500 likes on stuff. And I'm like, I don't want to look like the cornball who bought her followers or something. Like, I'd honestly rather all y'all dead people to just unfollow me. Like,
Right, from the
I would
grave.
rather have like 2,000 followers and get
Right.
like likes that actually mean something. So at this point, I'm like, yeah, it doesn't really matter. But I will say it's definitely going to affect people who use Instagram as their platform and create businesses out of it.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to affect them. And I think that's unfortunate because Instagram is a very dope way to do your marketing for free. So that kind of sucks for them.
But I think, so listening to Ben Haggerty, he was saying like, because they will still have access, like you will be able to see how many people interact
but I
with
feel
it.
like people can, Photoshop anything. Like I could send a company and be like, yeah, look, I get 10,000 likes on a photo. Like, what does that mean? Like anybody can edit anything. So I don't think that's really going to be helpful. I think you should be able to see it for business sake. Yeah. But I do get, trying this out and saying like, let's have more authentic experiences.
And I think for me, like I'm so open to how technology has evolved and how much it's grown that I'm sure there is some kind of algorithm or some kind of program that could be ran that would allow companies, if you give it permission or maybe permission to this certain company, like, hey, this is directly from Instagram. Boom. This is how many likes it's got. This is how many comments it got. So there's no room for the error or for the Photoshop in my mind. If they can come up with satellites and put mirrors on them talking about helping with global warming, did you hear about that? Here comes a tangent. So Andrew Yang, who is running for president, was saying like maybe, and this is just an idea in his head, he was like, maybe for global warming we can create a satellite, because he was saying we need to come up with solutions that we can.
It's called stop being shitheads to the planet.
Right.
Stop trying to like put band-aids on a fucking planet.
Right. And he was saying like we need to come up with solutions that if they go awry or they're not working effectively, we can just be like, never mind. So he was saying like, take a satellite, put mirrors on it, send the satellite up into space, have the mirrors reflect the sun's light back out into space. And if it works, leave it there.
It's probably going to laser explode some other planet.
Yeah, that's what I said. I was like, it sounds good. But again, that's what he's saying.
Let me tell y'all,
there's a
stop playing with the
bring it back
universe,
down.
okay?
Yeah,
We all gonna,
right.
First of all, the planet is not going to be here in 50 years, which is why I don't need nobody's children, because they're going to have a really shit life.
Yeah, then there's that. So, but say it. I brought that up to say, if we can come up with talking about mirrors on satellites and flying motorcycles, which is also something real, you can put a $10,000 down payment if you want to fly a motorcycle. Only flies for 20 minutes, though. But hey, if you got it, you got it. Anyway, back to the subject matter at hand.
Yeah, people falling off the goddamn sky.
To end that tangent, if we can come up with flying motorcycles, we can come up with ways to get people's likes and all that stuff directly to the companies.
I mean, I reckon.
But yes, that is it for me, a month of review queen. What's your last?
Oh, Lord. Okay, so it's going to get heavy, y'all. So
Let's meditate.
please, if you feel like you're triggered because this is a recent situation, then, feel free to skip forward. But the last part of the month in review, I'm going to be talking about the mass shootings. So it can get hard to decipher information when you're getting so much at once, especially on social media. You're just bombarded with stuff all the time. But so there were 3 mass shootings. One was in Dayton, Ohio. One was in Gilroy, California at a festival. And the other one was in El Paso, Texas. So if you don't know, yes, there are 3 of those that happened. So if you keep hearing a lot of information, yes, you're hearing it correctly. There's 3 different places. So Dayton, Ohio was a 24-year-old named Connor Betts. Shame his name. He ended up killing himself. Or no, I think he was killed by the cops. But he killed 9 people in Dayton, Ohio, that were just like kind of on the streets. And the police found 250 rounds of ammunition that he had with him. So yeah, he was definitely planning to do some damage. El Paso, Texas. This is the one that was in the Walmart. Yeah. 21-year-old Patrick Crucius, a high-powered rifle is what he used. He ended up being arrested peacefully, of course, as white people get to do. He criticized the growing population of the growing Hispanic population in Texas. Also, he's been unemployed and on food stamps for the past 5 months. So, I don't know how Hispanics could be so lazy and whatnot, but also they're taking jobs, and how you don't have a job? High-powered rifles in both of those. Gilroy, California, the music festival. This young man, 19 years old, Santino Ligon, he had a list of people that he was trying to kill, like a hit list. He ended up killing 3. He wounded 13 more. But yeah, so the police found a potential victims like list that he had, and he was using a semi-automatic rifle. In my research, I was finding, and I could be wrong, but that all 3 of these men legally purchased their assault rifles. I don't get it. And I was telling Sydney that a couple days before the first story kind of broke, I saw this man in the restaurant that I work at walk by with a T-shirt that said, "All rifles matter." And I was like, I don't understand the insensitivity. Like, why the fuck do we care more about guns than we do about people?
Right.
And I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, I'm anti-guns. I don't believe nobody should have guns. I just don't really understand the point of Joe Schmo being able to go buy a fucking assault rifle. I don't get it. Like,
yeah.
I don't understand. I don't think that's fair. And so many people are losing their lives. I mean, babies. The one in Dayton, Ohio, he even killed his sister. So going into Dayton, he was like in the streets or whatever, and people were running into this bar, like trying to run off the streets into this bar. And he was trying to run into the crowded bar. He's like, "Oh yeah, that's where y'all going?" Trying to run into the bar, and then the police shot him on his way in. So he actually was killed as well. So.
Wow. And you know what's so crazy about that to me is, again, like I say a lot, if you want to be successful, you should watch what successful people do.
Mm-hmm.
And there are countries where the police don't even carry guns because the citizens don't have guns. And again, it's not about disarming everyone if we don't even want to go that far. But again, if we wanted to be successful in those countries where 0 police have like guns,
0 shootings every year.
Yeah, you know
0
what I'm
mass
saying?
shootings every year.
So again, like if it's about how far are we willing to go to protect life, right? We're going far enough to ban abortions, but not semi-automatic rifles.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what gets me about pro-life people is I'm like, you care so much about fetuses and tadpoles, and you give no fucks about elementary school students that they're trying to market bulletproof backpacks to.
Oh.
Yeah, bulletproof backpacks, and they're like $120, I think. And I'm like, if somebody walks into the school, like, who says the kid is gonna be close to their book bag? Them shits be in your locker.
Right.
Like, it blows my mind that we're trying to market bulletproof backpacks and we can't just keep psychos from having fucking guns.
Yeah.
And by psychos, I'm including everybody that has a gun. So, because all these police officers are getting licensed to kill in 6 months at their local community college. Like, I'm just so sick of psychos having guns.
Yeah, it's absolutely wild. And again, I feel like we don't really care. Obviously, if we did, like, it's really not that hard. Like, it's kind of one of the things where I'm like, this should be a bipartisan, like, everybody's in agreement. It's like, how many, it was like 2 of those mass shootings were on the same day, right?
I think so.
And I was like, how many more people have to die? Like, I saw there was
and then bulletproof backpacks aren't going to help 9 people who are praying in Bible study. They're not going to help people who are in the movie theaters. They're not going to help people who are just walking around in Walmart or at a music festival or just on the streets, you know, at whatever time of night, on a club night or something. Like, these bulletproof backpacks can't save everybody. And they probably not even going to save the people that they were intended to save. So we just have got to do better. It's such a tiring conversation. It's so redundant. I'm tired of having it. Like, we have to do something. Why are we just, like, the NRA just be like, no, it's not the guns, it's the people. Well, obviously, shithead, they don't just pull their own triggers, which is why we should be careful about who gets them.
Right.
You shouldn't be able to buy them at your local Dick's or Walmart.
And how many more conversations like this are we going to have? And I mean, it's on the people too, because if we all stood up and did something and we're unified, like, how many more people have to die? Does it have to be your brother? Does it have to be your mom? Does it have to be you?
And a lot of us had, like, I can't say a lot of us had, like, know somebody personally that was killed in a mass shooting, but a lot of us know somebody who was killed by gun violence, period.
Yeah, or, I mean, it's crazy how close to home it gets, like, because it could, like, one of the women that died in the Charleston 9 was the aunt of someone I went to middle school with. Mm-hmm. So it can be that close. Mm-hmm. And her whole life has changed. I was literally reading her Instagram post the other day, and she was talking about how her whole life changed. She dedicated her basketball jersey to her. Yeah,
and it's not like, oh, it's only over here in the South, or it's only, like, it's literally been all over the country. Like, almost every state, like, has had an incident of this. Yeah. It's not acceptable. It's not okay.
Yeah. So it just comes in. You just got to keep asking, like, how many more of these conversations do we have to have?
And we can't. And they'll be like, well, now we have, like, some places will have the metal detectors, like, at the doors. And I'm like, people are getting killed in Walmart. People are getting killed outside. People are getting killed in church. We can't put metal detectors everywhere. Keep guns away from psychos.
Right.
Period.
Period.
Oh my God. It should not be that easy to get one. It simply shouldn't. And the sad part is, I know when you say that, as far as historical context, who are they going to make it harder for people to buy? Black people.
Yeah.
They want to make it hard for us to have things, right? If 20 of us walk up into the office downtown right now and say, hey, I want a pistol license or a rifle license, people are going to be looking at us like, oh, hell no, there's got to be a rule against this, right? I mean, that's happened in history. We have to look. History repeats itself, period. But I'm like, if anyone should be afraid of anyone, if anyone is invading any type of territory, if anybody is a terrorist or a domestic terrorist, it is these white people with guns. Facts. These people that are like, oh, well, they had a mental disorder. No shit, Sherlock. Anybody that kills another human being has a mental disorder. Period. I don't care. You can't live with killing somebody and be a normal person. I don't think so.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. We've had that conversation many times. So insane.
So I'm sorry for the heaviness of month in review, but it definitely had to be talked about. But I hope my condolences, my prayers, my thoughts with those families, because I know how hard death is, and I know that obviously none of these people could have prepared for that or could have been semi-ready. Like you don't know when somebody goes to Walmart that they're not coming home. Right. So. Or
to a concert. And how many times that happened? Wasn't it one of the mass shootings in Vegas? That was like a big concert or something.
I think it was just people on the street, just because people be on the streets in Vegas all the time.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a big concert. I could be, or maybe it wasn't even Vegas. This is why you shouldn't say things you didn't research.
And you know what? And this is why there should be so many mass shootings, because we should be able to know the details of them.
Right. Mass shootings too many to keep up with. Police brutality is just too much to keep up with.
It's too much.
So yeah. Alrighty. Now we have Blank While Black. Queen, would you like to go first, or would you like to take a break?
I'll take a little mental break for myself.
Okay, so mine is being arrested while black. So I'm just gonna read the headline.
Oh, so is mine.
Okay, let's see if it's the same.
Yeah, no, it is.
Okay. Headline read: Officers on horseback led black suspect through the streets by rope. Chief apologized. So this took place in Galveston, Texas, where Officer P. Brosh and Officer A. Smith arrested Donald Neely on criminal trespassing. And so, yeah, it's exactly what it sounds like if you didn't see the pictures. 2 white police officers on horseback with a rope tied to the handcuffs of a black suspect. Yeah, precisely. Sorry, Aisha passed me her phone real quick to show me a picture, and that is exactly what I have written down to talk about.
Basically, history repeating itself.
Yep. So there were 2 different things I wanted to talk about with this. Was talking about continuum. So I want to talk about embarrassment, and I want to talk about sending a message. So to me, like, because I wanted to make sure I brought up the word continuum before I made the statement I was going to make, because I know how people love to be like, oh, that's dramatic. But seeing a black man being led through the streets with 2 white men on horseback tied to a rope is on the same continuum as a black person being lynched. And I say that because it's all about sending a message. If I just want to kill you, I can kill you, throw you in the river, and you'll never be found. I'm sure there are plenty of black bodies in the Mississippi River that were never found. But the idea of lynching was, let me scare the hell out of you so you don't do A, B, or C.
And not just you. Everybody.
Your friends, your family.
All of your peers.
People literally lynching was a public event. Like, they passed out, I think postcards with pictures from lynching on them, or even like, hey, lynching. People were fucking cooking and making sandwiches like it's a fucking picnic while there's a black person about to be hung from a tree. So again, it's a continuum. Again, it's about embarrassing. It's about there being something public for you to see. Like, there was absolutely no dignity in that arrest. Like, they were saying y'all could have just waited on a car. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's what the chief said. But that's the other thing I wanted to bring up too, which actually, I guess 3 things I wanted to bring up was the lack of education. See, if we had a more inclusive education, if we didn't just talk about straight white men all the time, if we talked about black people and black history and Hispanic people and Hispanic history and Asian people and Asian history and women, then I could at least say, I know you know better. But then I actually can't say that, because how long do we talk about slavery? Long enough, a week, and then we move forward.
For Black History Month, and all we talk about is, hey,
Martin Luther King.
You Negroes were picking cotton, and then Martin Luther King came. We also killed him, but we're not going to talk about that.
It literally,
so if you do want to rebel, make sure you do so quietly and with a Bible in your hand. Oh my God.
Right. So literally, Black history for me sounded something like, y'all was picking cotton, Martin Luther King showed up, freedom. Like, so again, I can't even say, I know you know better. So like, again, if we had a more inclusive education, which is, again, that's like the premise of my website. It's not just about reaching black people. I definitely want to reach black people, but I'm trying to reach all people so that y'all can read this history that I know you may not have been taught in school. So then I can go, oh, I know y'all knew better. So that was the second thing I wanted to bring up. And the last thing was, again, just the parallels. Like, this is the 400-year anniversary of the beginning of slavery. If I'm not mistaken, it started in August, but I know for sure it started in 1619. This is 2019. And again, we're seeing slave catchers on horses are leading captured slave by rope on horseback, and now we're seeing white police officers on the 400-year anniversary leading a black man through the streets with a rope tied to his handcuffs. So yeah, that is my blank while black. That is my what the fuck moment. That is my we need a better education system, so I could at least say, no, you knew what the fuck you was doing. Yeah. That's...
And so I want to add a little bit to that because that was mine as well. Just we think about, slave owners tethering their slaves, to walk beside the horses, and the horseback police officers that were terrorizing the civil rights movement.
Horseback KKK members.
It's very telling of history. Its purpose was to be humiliation.
Absolutely.
The chief said that a couple things that really made my blood boil. One was, we told him to stop trespassing.
Oh, I didn't.
Okay, so we needed public humiliation because he was trespassing.
Right.
Again, could have been a fine, could have just deterred him. If you felt the need to arrest somebody, then you could have called a squad car. You mean to tell me in Texas y'all ain't got no goddamn cars? Y'all still all on horseback or something? Not only that, but you're marching him through the streets. It's not like you took a back road, because there are many pictures online that are clearly like you're on a main road or a main street, I should say. And then a couple things that I feel like is going to shake your boots a little bit, Sid. I couldn't find as many details as far as to find the officer's name.
Okay.
One of the things that I found, or one of the news articles was talking about how we asked the police department, for the body cams. Did y'all have body cams on? Yes, we had body cams on. Were they active? Yes, they were active. Can you release the footage? No, because we're worried about taking care of the community. We don't think it's important to release the footage. That's what the police department said. We're worried about taking care of the community. We don't feel the need to release the footage.
I wonder, in my head, the first thing I think about is, I wonder what they may have been saying to him. I'm not even thinking about brutality right now. I'm just I just can only imagine.
Which is brutality. You know?
Absolutely.
It is assault. The words that you say are assault.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can only imagine what two white men with cowboy hats on horses were saying to a black man that they were leading by a rope.
Yeah.
And then
in 2019.
And then, so not only did they say they weren't going to release the footage, the officers are not going to be punished at all. The chief said that. The chief said, I do not plan on punishing them, but what we are going to do is put in some new rules so that we won't use that technique anymore. They called this a fucking technique. This was a technique? You mean to tell me that you don't have a cell phone, a radio, a nothing to call a squad car?
They obviously don't have cell phones or radios, period, where they got to be horses and
okay, they out here in the
sticks.
People.
Right.
Okay, lastly, the chief, his name is Vernon Hale.
Okay.
The chief is black. So, yeah, exactly.
I wish there was there's no camera this time, y'all. I wish I could have seen my face just now.
All skin folk and kinfolk.
Okay.
So that really, really made me sad to look at that, to know the implications and to know what history says, to have the NAACP coming up saying, absolutely not, unacceptable, right. What needs to be done. And you say, I can't give you the footage. Also, we're going to use a different technique next time.
You know what I want to see?
Nigga, what the fuck?
You know what I want to see? You remember the NAACP, if I'm not mistaken, flew that flag that said a man was lynched yesterday. I want to see them fly a flag that says a black man was led through the streets by rope.
And on the New York Times.
Yes.
That is absurd. To say that no punishment is going to be, we use that technique. I've never seen pictures of this. Somebody's going to have to send me some pictures. And even if they do, I don't care if they're white, black, Puerto Rican, Asian, whatever. That is unacceptable. Yeah. To be leading somebody by horse on a rope, especially it being a black man.
Right.
Nah, y'all got us fucked up, Galveston, Texas. Y'all got us fucked up.
Yeah.
And Mr. Chief Vernon Hale, you got us extra fucked up.
Mr. Chief Vernon Hale, I'm actually going to send. See, I want to be the change that you want to see. I'm going to find a number to call or an Instagram page or something and say, hi, I ain't coming down there because I know y'all activists like to have people disappearing and shit. But okay. I will be available via Skype or FaceTime to give you guys some classes on Black history and why the fuck that shit is not okay.
And I'm glad you brought that up because that will tie into my next.
Okay, that's my number one thing. Secondly, I'm also going to hit up the NAACP and say, hey, can y'all make this flag a thing? I got a friend who makes clothes. I think she can make us a flag, Miss Danielle Tia. Let's send them a flag that says a man was walked through the streets by rope yesterday. A black man.
Or is this the antebellum South or what?
Okay. I did not find all those details? Because I think
Yeah,
the
and I didn't
article.
find the details of the officer's name. I literally nowhere said the officer's name, and I was like, "What the fuck? I need to know who these white people are."
But did you look it up last night?
Yes.
Okay, because I looked it up this morning, so maybe like
okay.
news. But I was about to say because I didn't see. I think the article I read said they might. I feel like it said they might be punished, but that's disgusting.
Yeah, well, from what he said,
And
he said
again-
he quoted to the news reporters that he was not planning on taking. They will not be punished. They're just gonna review their techniques to make sure they don't do that same thing again.
And
is all they
again,
said.
see, for me, like,
And he said, I don't think it was
always-
malicious intent. It wasn't.
Yeah, I
racist.
saw that
and
part.
I said, oh, okay, all right, Mr. Tap Dance.
Right. But so again, like I approach things from at a minimum or at best, I'm just gonna say you're poorly educated, whether you're black or not. So that's why I'm like, well, let me reach out. Hey, let me tell you why this is a punishable offense. Let me tell you why. Here's what I'm gonna give you a list of books. Take it upon yourself as a police officer, as someone who's supposed to protect and serve all lives, including black lives, as to why your ass need to read every single book on this list if you don't think there's anything wrong with, or at least a suspension, at least for the,
I mean,
for
at
the
bare
implication.
minimum. At bare
So I'm
minimum.
like, yeah, you just must not be educated.
Yeah.
So let
a
me educate
suspension
your
and
ass.
also taking some classes.
Yeah.
Like you have to complete X, Y, and Z before you can come to work.
Okay.
And no, not with the check. You got us fucked up.
Okay.
You can also pay for your classes that are
Come-
mandatory. Because you know what? They do that when people are on probation. They do that when people break laws. You have to take X, Y, and Z class and do this much community service without pay, obviously, and you have to come out of pocket and pay for all those things. So why we don't do that at the cops?
Okay, that's a good question because I definitely got a speeding ticket and I definitely paid like 150, 180 for like a class so I didn't have to go to court or whatever it was. And I literally was like, let me wear my seatbelt. Let me not text and drive. Like I literally walked away with something. So again, it's
and
such
I
an
did too.
important.
And I had to take the class 2 or 3 times. But I did always walk away with it. And I would say things like, don't drink and drive, don't speed, don't text, don't do this. And it's not because I'm perfect, but it's because I'm like, I don't have to be the one to kill somebody to learn my lesson.
Right. So again, if we do this to civilians, why don't we, at a minimum, again, because I could say, maybe you didn't know. For real. Okay, I'll swallow my pride real quick. Maybe you didn't know. But there better be a class involved. Period. You use an illegal chokehold and killed a black man, there at least, at a minimum, better be
Many
a class
classes,
involved.
many hours of community support, and without pay.
In the black community, where we will also be surveilling you to make sure you don't do no racist or say no racist shit.
It could all be so simple. Cindy and I are not PhD holders,
Right.
okay? And we came up with that off the fly.
Off the rip.
We didn't even plan this.
We need.
I've got to
check.
get in somebody's office.
I
I've
need to
got to
check.
get in somebody's office right now.
Right.
Okay, so the next news in blank while black, the Emmett Till Memorial. So the Emmett Till Memorial, hopefully everybody knows who Emmett Till is. If you don't, a quick recap is going to be he was 14 years old. He came down from New York to visit his family here in the South. Allegedly whistled at a white woman. 2 men kidnapped him, beat the shit out of him, the dog shit out of him, like basically busted up his teeth. They threw him in the river.
He was missing an eyeball.
They like
Part
his
of an
fingers
ear, I
were bursted.
think.
Like, the picture is like literally unrecognizable. The only way his family was able to tell who he was by a ring he was wearing. Not his face, not his teeth, not nothing. He was tied up with barbed wire around his neck to a cotton gin fan and thrown into the river so his body wouldn't float up. And it was found a couple days later, floated up on the riverside. And then the man confessed a year later, but because of
to a magazine. Imagine being his mother having to read that shit.
and because of double jeopardy, they were not charged, even though they admitted it.
All right.
So the 2 men got away with it, and then the woman on her fucking deathbed was like, "Oh yeah, he also didn't whistle at me. Hope I go to heaven now, bitch. You going to hell in a handbasket, lots of gasoline.
And
fuck
said,
you.
and these 2 said they would do it again. Well, at least one of them did for sure. I definitely
Fuck
remember
them.
that.
Fuck all of them, and everybody involved, and everybody on the jury, the judge, prosecutors, all that shit. Fuck all y'all." But so the memorial has been vandalized many times. It first went up in 2007, which was many years after it actually happened. But
Yeah, 1955.
yeah, so it went up in 2007. Since it's been up in 2007, it has been replaced 3 times. It has been defaced with acid. It has been shot many times. It has been stolen. It's been vandalized. It's been KKK has been written on it. Lots and lots of things that have gone on since 2007. There are crazy terrorist people in 2007 talking about something that happened 50 years ago at the time, right? So obviously these psychos are fucking everywhere. But so it has been replaced 3 times. Recently, back in March, actually, this picture was taken, but I don't think it really made the newsways until about July. Actually, the anniversary of his death or his birthday, one of those.
Yeah, birthday.
I think it's his birthday. July 25th was his birthday. On the 26th, the news story broke that these University of Mississippi, some Ole Miss white frat boys from Kappa Alpha took a picture, 3 young men, took a picture with the sign with bullet holes all in it. Whether they did them or not, I'm not sure.
I think they were already there because I read an article that said that whenever they got the sign back or when they thought about taking them out, they were like, no, we're going to leave it here because we want y'all to see that essentially this is still a racist ass society.
So I'm going to get to that. So they took a picture, the 3 white boys took a picture in front of the sign. The memorial is right by the riverside where his body was found. They took a picture in front of it holding guns, the 3 young men. Took a picture of it. And for what, like, why? Why would you do that? So then they were suspended from their fraternity, and their fraternity said, that does not reflect our views and values. So, we're going to give them the little slaps on the hands until their mommies and daddies can give us some more money and we'll let them back in the chapter. But it's been done all these things. So finally, after that recent picture, the foundation decided, okay, we're going to take it down, but next time we're going to put a bulletproof sign up. So the fourth sign, and as they think or say is going to be the final sign, the fourth and final sign is going to be a bulletproof sign. Why are we putting up bulletproof memorials?
Right.
Why do we have to do that?
Right.
And they did say, yeah, like a lot of times it's been shot, and we were like, you know what? We're just going to let it stand because it is a symbol. It is to say, like, look at what happened to this 14-year-old baby who never got to go back home to his mama.
And look what's still happening.
And look what's still happening to him.
Later.
So in Blank While Black, you cannot even be fucking dead while black.
Yeah.
We've learned, even just through this podcast, if we're only looking through this lens, you can't drive a car in the rain while black. You can't, sell water while black. You can't get arrested while black. You can't drive a car while black. You cannot even be dead while black and be in peace.
Right.
We can't even let people rest in peace. You out here disturbing the dead. Are you fucking nuts?
Right. Oh my God. It's so, like, now that you say it like that, it's so disgusting.
Yeah. The fourth and final sign will be bulletproof. You have to put a bulletproof memorial for a 14-year-old child who was murdered and brutally murdered, but also the men admitted to it and the woman admitted to it.
Right.
And they all got off scotch-free.
And we still they're
not scotch-free because they burning in hell, but fuck that. That's not okay.
Yeah.
A bulletproof memorial sign.
Yeah. That's disgusting.
So, yeah, a really heavy day. My goodness.
Yeah. Ready for Sexpectations?
Oh, yes. Can we move right along? My goodness. So take some time. Rest in peace, Emmett Till. And oh my God, my heart just breaks.
And it is August again. Another book recommendation. I think I can't remember the title, but it's written by his mother, Mamie Till, or Mamie Bradley Mobley. She was remarried a couple times, so unfortunately I always mess her name up. But if you type in Emmett Till or Mamie Till, I'm sure it'll come up. Oh, Death of Innocence. The book is called Death of Innocence, and it quickly rose to my I read 24 books last year, so I've read over 24 books. Like I say that much, and that one rose to my top 5. Like, no book has made me cry. That book had me and it wasn't even just sad crying; it was like happy crying because she was such a beautiful woman. Like, she had one baby and that was it, and he was taken from her, and she just still persisted. She went on to become a teacher,
and to have to hear people bragging about killing your baby
and
brutally killing your baby
and get off. And then didn't
they write a book?
Who that? Yeah, I'm not sure if they did.
I know they confessed to like a magazine, but I thought they wrote a book or
oh God,
I'll have to look back into that. But I remember when I first read that story, I think I was in middle school when they would make you read a certain amount of books every month or something like that, and I got my hands on that one, and I was like, oh my God, because I think up until then I had heard prejudice comments, but I can't necessarily say racist ones. And when I read that book, I was just so shook. I'm like, oh my God, this man is, my grandpa's age or my parents' age. Like, I just remember being shook when I read that book and being like, how can people do this? And then reading the end, and then they confess, but because of double jeopardy, blah, blah, blah. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. That's not what?
Right. And then
you can confess to something you did and get off.
Yeah, and I definitely suggest y'all read his mom's book. There was a part in there where she was saying there was a hole in right above the right ear, if I'm not mistaken, and in the skull area, and she was saying all that time she had thought it was a bullet hole, all that time, and she was like, and I was reading it, and I'm like, imagine hearing, because she was saying and then rumors said that it was from a drill.
Oh my God.
And I was like, I remember
for allegedly whistling at a white woman.
And at that
you're
point,
a 14-year-old child.
Right. And at that point, when I read that, I was sitting down. I remember either my knees got weak or I felt like I was about to throw up. I was And at this moment, I just, it's like you feel something in your soul when you read something like that.
They beat the shit out of this baby. 2 grown men kidnapped and beat the shit out of this. Like, torture terrifies me. Like, I can't watch it in movies and stuff. Like, I just be like, oh God, I can't watch this. Yeah. I cannot imagine even being the human to inflict torture on another human being. Like, how did you go home to your family? And then
right.
one of the like quotes in the book was like something like, okay, we got to hurry up because I got to go to church in the morning or something like that. I got to take my family to church in the morning. And I was like,
I don't
know. Listen, I know some things about white Jesus, but I can't even say the white Jesus be proud of this. Y'all got us fucked up.
Right.
Whew. My God.
All right, let's all exhale and go to Sexpectations.
Please, let's move it on. Do you have something to say?
I do.
Okay.
All
That's 2
right.
weeks in a row. You really showing out over there.
I know. Okay, so my question is, do you think monogamy is natural?
No.
And why? Or what experiences in your life, or like what makes you say that? And it was such a fast no. Like when you asked me, would you date outside your race? Yes.
I think that's interesting because I was literally listening to a podcast talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't think it's normal. I don't think it's natural. I think it's something that we force humankind to be into because there's like no animals, like in nature that just doesn't exist. Right. And I'm not saying that we should be like animals and sniff each other's assholes and stuff like, oh, she comparing yourselves to animals and whatever. Like, I'm not saying that, but I just don't think it's natural because if that's the case, we wouldn't be attracted to anything or anyone else when we're with this one partner. It's human nature to want to learn and explore. And I mean, I don't know anybody who really has, but I mean, imagine your very first boyfriend or girlfriend ever. Yikes. Like, what the fuck were we thinking, right? Like, those people are meant to give you experiences. I saw something the other day that was that Lauren London actually said this about Nipsey. And she was like, we're not meant to possess people. Right. Not when we love them. We're meant to experience them.
Right.
And I think that you're meant to experience people. And if you find one person, that's dope. If you find 2 people, if you want to be in a throuple or quadruple or whatever, if that makes you happy, if that helps you experience more and love harder and more fierce, then I think that's totally okay.
Yeah.
As long as you have that clarity with you and your partner.
Absolutely.
I think, you just have to have that conversation and be honest about it. Yep. But in general, I've said this before, like anybody, they can tell me their weird sex kink. I'm not going to be like, what a fucking weirdo. They like Skittles in their asshole. I don't give a fuck what you do in the bedroom. Like, I don't care. I think what people want to do in their bedrooms, their relationships, X, Y, and Z is their business. Yeah. And I think we've talked too before about telling somebody if, their person did X, Y, and Z or shot in a DM and stuff. And I'd be like, well, you don't know the dynamics of their relationship. They might be like, you do what you do, just don't tell me. Or you do what you do, and I'm going to do what I do. And, whatever. But
open relationship.
Exactly. I'm not here to judge nobody's relationship. If you into 10 wives or 10 husbands,
do your thing.
Do what makes you happy and experience people the way that you see fit.
Absolutely. I agree.
Ricochet.
Okay. I was so the person I always like to use as my best example for why we should not force marriage or our own ideals about relationships on other people is Kevin Hart. And it's not a judgment against Kevin Hart, but every time I think about the fact that he cheated on his first wife, then got remarried and cheated on his second wife within 1 year of their marriage while she was pregnant, I was like, maybe you're not meant to be married. Like, and that's okay.
And that's okay.
But and mind you, I will say this. I don't know the parameters of their relationship, but I'm speaking as if they're supposed to be in a monogamous it's you and me relationship. So I'm looking like, Kevin, I don't think this is for you. And that's okay. Why do you need a wife and side chicks too? Why? If you're supposed to be in a monogamous relationship.
Yeah, if you're supposed to be, yeah.
So I was like, if you cheat on because not to say, and I always
and I think a lot of these relationships are like, okay, I know what's up, and it is what it is. Just don't publicly embarrass me, and that's okay too. If you're like, I'm fine with my partner getting their rocks off, just don't have me embarrassed on Instagram.
If that's your shit, fine. That's none of my business. You know what I'm saying? So that could literally be Aniko's shit. That might be her shit. But I'm saying if it's not, it's like, bro, like. Because I was telling somebody, I was like, it's not like it's okay if you cheat in 20 years or 50. But 1 year, you got tired of her in less than a year.
Yeah.
That you probably shouldn't be married.
Yeah.
Or you shouldn't be in a monogamous relationship.
By all means. If you want 6 boyfriends, 6 girlfriends, do your shit, but be open and honest about it and know who you are. Like, if you are not a marriage person or if you're not a monogamous person, I think that's okay. You know how I am about societal standards, and I don't give a fuck about them. I spend enough time like trying to fit into something to realize, you know what, this ain't my shit. This y'all shit. This ain't my shit.
Right.
So whatever you want to do in your life, your relationship, just make sure that's okay with the other people because it's important to let them know, obviously. But Who gives a fuck what society says?
Right. And as the Queen Maya Angelou said, be honest with yourself first. Because when you're honest with yourself first, then you can be honest with everybody else. Meaning, sit down and say, I probably shouldn't be married. I can't be monogamous. Hey, babe, I can't be monogamous. I'm sorry.
Hey, babe.
I just learned this about myself. So there you go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just because you can't take away people's right to choose.
Right.
Because Anika might have been like, okay, whatever. Like, I already knew what it was because how I got you is how I'm going to lose you. You know, I already knew what was up. She might be like, okay. But to, like, publicly embarrass her, and I'm not saying he did because, I don't know the inside of their relationship. But, you know, it obviously seemed like if he got online crying and apologizing. But, you know, whatever. Just do your shit. Just make sure the other people know that you're doing your shit.
And be honest with yourself first.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Cool. You got one?
Yeah,
of
just
course.
one.
Okay.
Of course. You know what? They honestly stress me out to find because I'm like, I don't want to ask no light shit. I don't care about that light shit. I want to get to the tea.
Okay.
Is it okay for your partner to still be friends with people they've had sex with?
Yeah, I don't care anything about any of that. Like it to me, it just all goes back to freedom. Like, and it goes back to trust. Like for me, anytime you're in a relationship, anytime you have a friendship, all of it's on faith because you never know if that person's gonna hurt you or not until they do or they don't. So I'm like, I'm not gonna come on paper. I'm not gonna come up with all of these parameters and be like, oh no, you can't like her picture if she naked on Instagram. You can't like her picture.
You can't follow her on Instagram.
You can't be friends with your exes. You can't like your ex's post. Don't follow them on Instagram. It's like, bro, look. First of all, I'm not going to go looking for all that shit. That's number one. Like, if you tell me, great, then I know. Which, mind you, again, I think you should be open and honest about these things. Like, if you would want that. Or another thing I've been thinking about lately is not necessarily saying treat people how you want to be treated. Treat people how they want to be treated, because maybe how you want to be treated has nothing to do or correlates in no way with how they want to be treated. So on paper, I could care less. On paper, I'm just focused on us having a symbiotic relationship. On paper, I'm focused on my own happiness and then our happiness in a relationship. And again, I think that relationships should be very free. Like, I don't know how many liberties I want to take away from you that you used to have just because we're now in a relationship. So yeah, that is it for Sexpectations.
So I hope y'all have these conversations with your friends, and if y'all do, like, let us know. If not, we y'all friends. Y'all in our living room. I hope you friends. My grandma said, don't ever disrespect nobody that's in your house, because if you let them in there, you better show them some respect. Right. So
interact with us on social media. Oh yes, and also rate, like, subscribe to this podcast, because the more y'all rate it, the more people will see it.
On Apple Podcasts, it's a simple click the 5 stars, because we 5-star. A quick comment, do you like us, do you not? Because even if you don't listen to us faithfully, if you like one or two of the podcasts, you could just say that and somebody else will be like, oh, you know what, I am gonna listen to it because I read the reviews and they seem lit.
Oh, I'm gonna listen to that one episode, and guess what, they might be hooked, because you're not gonna tell me that you ain't hooked.
Okay. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, ma'am. Okay. So now we moving on to Black on Black support.
Black on Black support, my favorites.
And I got 2 easy ones. You want me to go first?
Okay.
All right. So I would like to shout out _Carly Janae and by Dakota Ayana. So _Carly Janae _Carly Janae is a designer, a writer, a poet, and a podcaster. So check her out at _CarleeJanae. So she went with us to ECU, and how I was introduced to her, I feel like, was at all those great, wonderful Black gatherings, those Black shows in Hendrix. She would go up there and do her spoken word, and it was captivating. They would lower them lights down.
I do love a good spoken word.
And we would sit there and we would just take in those words, and she would just she was just captivating. Like, she would get into it and you would just be like, it was amazing. It was just powerful. Like, it's amazing how this young lady is able to command a room. So please check her out. And then also by Dakota Ayana, which you can follow BYDAKOTHAIYANNA. It's a
shorten that name, girl. We like
I
Cody.
know, right? Good Lord. We still love you though. We love you, or whatever your Instagram name is. We love that too. She is a visual artist and a writer. Phenomenal woman, phenomenal Black queen with a amazing short haircut. I told her she should release hats, because when she put them pictures up on Instagram when she be wearing them hats, I'd be like, sis, I would buy a hat with your name on it.
I think she's beautiful, and everything she touches is beautiful. Like the collages she makes and everything. I'm like, sis, when I get some coins, because it's gonna take me a minute, but when I get some coins, I just want to decorate my house and all the beautiful collages and things.
Yeah, she put up some art, and I was like, oh, this is beautiful, and she's like, yeah, it's for sale, and I was like, I'm poor, but girl, if it's still here, and
but
such
you know
and such,
what? I can take my opportunity to tell other people about it, because somebody is not broke like me.
Somebody listening to this podcast got some money, so
I know a couple people that listen to this podcast that got some monies.
So yeah, go to that Instagram page, which I'm not gonna repeat again because that was a lot of letters. So just rewind.
Yeah, okay.
And buy that good art.
Yes, come on, Black on Black support.
Yes, ma'am.
So Teachers. It is August, people, so it's about time to roll back into school. So if you know a teacher, you ever had a teacher, you ever wanted to be a teacher, you're in school to be a teacher, you got some students, you got some badass kids that go to school or something, then that means you probably know a teacher, right?
If you're successful in any way, you know some teachers.
So anyway, so teachers are important. North Carolina is ranked 29th by the National Education Association in their pay for teachers. 29th. People, there are only 50 states. So they're ranked 29th. So if you know a teacher, you see a teacher, send them some love. Ask them for their Cash App. Don't even be like, hey, do you need something? Just ask them for their Cash App. Send $5, right? Send 5 coins. That can buy, I don't know, a pack of paper for some of their students. Because, teachers in North Carolina, I don't know about everywhere else, because I know people in different school systems had different experiences than I had. But I remember teachers being like, I had to come out of pocket to buy some pencils. I had to come out of pocket to buy some tissues or some paper.
Out of pocket, and this is no shade to the teachers, but out of pocket to a low pocket already. Like, they don't
my
pay
pocket
teachers
is already
well.
low. I'm already broke, and I had to come out of pocket and do this for my kids. And then, like, I got 4 textbooks, but 120 students in a day. Like, so I got to make lots of copies, but I got to have paper to make copies because they only give us so many for the whole year. So if you know a teacher, ask for their Cash App, send them $5. It ain't got to be much, but if we all collectively, it's not about one person doing all, it's about all doing some. Everybody send some love to some teachers that you know. Amen. And last shout out is gonna go out. So I just released a photo from a photo shoot I just did. Everybody was asking me about my braids or whatever. They were by @everything.t. So if you need your hair did for the summertime, because, we don't like to mess with our hair that much because her sisters, we got some thick hair, it hurts our arms. We ain't got good triceps like that.
What?
So get you some braids. Everything.t. She did my hair. My photo shoot was done by @finesse_faux. Like photo. @finesse_faux. So that's Sean. He did a really good job on my photos. Y'all over there eating me up on the gram.
That's what they're doing.
They eating me up on the gram. So
Listen,
y'all follow those people if you want some photos done. He works in Charlotte, Greensboro, North Carolina surrounding areas, Atlanta. He like to travel. He's with the shit. So hit him up. Also get your hair did so you're not out here looking crusted.
And I see, as the best friend, I have already seen all the photos. So y'all ain't even seen the reds yet.
Ooh.
I think you should. Can you is it corny to title when I got 5 on it because you in all red in the back in this red is all red?
Please stop.
That's corny. Okay. Well, I'm gonna post it in my story, and I'm gonna put I got 5 on it in the background because I can post music in my story.
Okay, y'all. Somebody help me out. Somebody send me a DM. I do not know how to put music on my Instagram story. It doesn't.
And it's not that she don't know how, y'all. Yeah, I'm about to say it's not that she don't know how. It's like the whole option is disappeared.
When I pull up
from
my
her
screen,
phone.
there's no music, and when I go into search bar, I can't search for music.
Somebody help a sister out.
Why
so
did
she
they
can
do
be
that to me?
great.
My shit is upgraded.
Probably because you got 20,000 followers and you can do that
up.
swipe up shit. They probably was like, no, you can't have it.
You can
all.
only have one.
You can't have
I
it all.
don't know.
Sis.
It won't let me play music. That's so rude.
So everybody look out for my corny ass posts because apparently Aisha thinks I'm a cornball, and I'm okay with that.
All right, now for one of my other favorite parts.
Mental health.
Mental
Check
health
in.
is so
Yeah.
important. If no black brother or sister tells you to talk about it, be about it, we are. Mental health is so important. And we're here to love on you and give you some love and get you some love. But today, Cindy, I actually have self-reflections.
Okay.
Looking inside. That's the only way we can grow is if we know what our flaws are. You can't get better from anything you don't know about. So I want you to think about your 3 best and worst qualities. I'm going to give you a second to think about it, okay? I'm going to go ahead and go first.
Okay.
My best qualities. I'm thoughtful. I try to remember to send cards, write letters,
Absolutely.
if somebody's going through something, if I know or if I don't know. I'm selfless. I'm very
Absolutely.
generous with my time, with my money, anything that I have going on for me. I try to take care of others before I take care of myself. Very selfless.
Facts.
I'm very sensitive, which is a good thing in some ways because that means, I can reach out to people. I can love on them. I can hurt when you hurt. I can smile when you smile. I can uplift you when you need that, etc. But I have worse qualities as well because there's always things you need to work on. But I think you need to take time to love on yourself. Stop always beating yourself up. Everybody's always going to be their own worst critic, right? We're always going to tear ourselves down.
So.
Dang, I'm broke. Dang, I ain't good enough. Damn, I got this bad temper. Damn this, damn that. We always beating ourselves up. So love on yourself first. Take a look in the mirror and talk about things that you love about yourself. It don't have to be physical, but it can be. You be like, I got a fat ass. And I'm really nice. just love on yourself, because you know what, you
Absolutely.
got to do it first before anybody else can do it genuinely.
Okay, and before you can even accept it, right? Because somebody can be like, "Oh my God, your hair look good." You can go,
Like, no, it
"Oh
looks
my God,
bad."
I haven't done it in like 2 weeks." Accept the compliment,
Yeah,
bitch.
God damn it. Let people open their heart chakras to your ass, ungrateful ass. Love on yourself. But I have some bad qualities too, right? So I'm super impatient. I get irritated very easily. I will rip somebody's neck off, especially if I'm driving. So God bless you if you're driving shitty around me. I'm impatient. My cutoff game is strong. I have no problem being like, oh, fuck that person. They hurt me. They upset me. They offended me. Instead of trying to reach out in love, I'll be like, they hurt me intentionally, so it's off with their heads. I'm going to block them. I don't know how to block on email yet, but I'm trying to get there. But I block people on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, my phone. Like, the only way to get to me sometimes is by a pigeon. Like, you're going to have to send a pigeon with a message to get to me sometimes, because I will cut you off. Like, I'm very okay with being like, oh, they're not meant to be my life. You know, people are seasonal. Bye-bye. So that's definitely something I need to work on, because people can't grow if you're not even open to having conversations with them.
Absolutely.
And lastly, I'm sensitive. That can be, a positive and a
double-edged
negative
sword.
for me.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes it's hard for me to hear criticism. So that's definitely something I want to work on, is being able to take that, instead of taking it and feeling like somebody's throwing rocks at me, just take it and be like, I'm going to just either use this as a brick to build my new building,
Okay.
or I'm going to just let it be water on a duck's back. I don't have to let everything get to me, because I know somebody can say something small, and even though I like to be like, I don't give a fuck about their opinion. Yeah, I do. And I'm going to cry. And then I'm going to get mad and yell and curse and cut you off. So that can be my drawback as well. So those are some self-reflections that I have for myself, for my mental health check-in. Once you know these things about yourself, you can actually work on them. But you're not going to know if you are always in denial about what your issues are.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, Sid. Look in the mirror, sis. What's up?
I love very hard. I think it's a positive and a negative, because me and Kalia were having a conversation, and she said she saw a meme that was like, why don't we love our friends like we love our spouses? And I was like, oh, no, I do. And she was like, that's got to be terrible. And I was like, it is, because you might not have people in your life who love that way. And so it can be a little daunting. It can be a little draining to always feel like you're that person that is like, hey, how are you? Are you good? And be like, hey, let's get together. Hey, let's hang out.
Sydney's love will teach you how to love.
No.
I
Aisha's love will teach you how to love, because
No,
I
I
love
think
like
so.
this because of you. I feel like I feel like when you have people in your life who have these beautiful traits and qualities, it almost not necessarily gives you permission, but it can either give you permission or inspire you to do the same. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was telling somebody I remember the first time you were like, okay, love you, Sid. I was like, huh?
What am I supposed to do with this information?
I was like, love, bye.
Yeah,
But then
no, Sydney is a queen of checking in and being like, hey, I feel like you needed this today, let me love on you, or hope you have a great day, or here's an inspirational quote from somebody who spoke to me, so I'm going to speak it back into you. She just breathes life. So sorry, I had to brag on you as well. I feel like you over here trying to give your best and giving yourself less credit than you deserve.
I appreciate that. But yeah, so I love very hard, and one thing that I will say is a negative for me is that I want to be more supportive.
You're supposed to give me 3 goods and 3 bad.
I was gonna bounce back and forth.
Okay.
But I want to be more supportive. Like, once I had a blog, and now that we have a podcast, I really understand what support as far as Instagram and actually like viewing or listening or watching the things that your friends are doing.
We're gonna get on this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Stop asking us to shout your shit out, knowing that we have done that for years and years. For every little thing you do, I don't give a fuck if you went cherry picking today and you had a basket of cherries. We're like, oh my God, look how great they did. And now when it's time to support other people, y'all just act like these supports is gonna cost you millions of dollars.
Right. People be acting
not
like
y'all, but y'all.
Yeah, the people. But when I said Aisha does it, I mean you are the queen of supporting and shouting out. Like, I'm just now trying to get into it more. Like, trying to make sure I always shout out Xavier, trying to make sure I always shout out anybody who I know needs more eyes or more views or whatever it might be. Because now that I know what that looks like and what it feels like when people don't give you that shout out, like when you think like, oh, I know this person gonna shout me out though because we cool or da da da.
I've gotten so much more support from people that like, I'm cool with, but I'm not like besties with than a lot of my best friends. And that shit is painful sometimes, because you're like, damn, I do X, Y, and Z for you, not for something in return, because I've done it for years. But now that I have something, like, having support back would be nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm sorry, I don't want to take away from you.
Oh no, you're
ahead.
good. I would say this is hard. This is one of the things that you need moments and minutes and hours to think about. So I'm good with doing one of each today.
Loving really hard.
Loving very hard, and then my con or what I want to work on is supporting people more.
Okay.
As much as possible. So yeah. And now for affirmations. And mine, I'm just going to use something that I said earlier. Tell the truth to yourself first. A Maya Angelou quote that was featured in Beyonce's Homecoming documentary that has stayed with me, because I feel like I've lied to myself a lot about a lot of things, whether it be what I think my purpose is on this earth and all of that. So, yeah, I want to make sure that I definitely tell the truth to myself, and I guess I want you guys to do the same.
Okay. Well, mine is always, as always, love on somebody. You never know when it's going to be your last time. Give somebody a call. Give somebody a text. Stop what you're doing right now as you hear my voice. Call somebody that you love. You can come back and finish the podcast and rate us in a second.
Right.
But call somebody that you love. Call somebody that just crossed your mind. Or just dang, like, I remember they told me they had to take their dog to the vet. I wonder how their dog's doing. You know, like, just love on people. You never know when they going to need it. And a simple, hey, how you doing, to a stranger in the hallway could be the difference of a good day or a bad day for them. So just love on them. Spread love, and you'll get love back.
Absolutely. So y'all know how this goes. You can't. Well, no, you should say it because that's her tagline.
We love y'all. We thank y'all for joining us, for supporting us, and for thinking that we're the shit. That's really dope of y'all. Thank you for coming into our living room. Y'all don't have to go home, but y'all got to get the hell out of our living room.
So
Pay
peace.
attention. I ain't trying to say I never did it, so I leave it in the studio on every minute. I'ma face the world while I ain't never been coward. I'm a big kid now, I'm only playing for power. Okay, when they was buying Jordans, my mama got me Reebok and told me maybe later I had to see about. I see now, I never got to sit up in my class with the new kicks and kick shit with niggas with the same shit on. But I was taught to never worship anything but God. You see, I was pushing lawnmowers and washing cars. I was marathon moding, and now I'm on.